Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here. Today, we're going to talk about the newest expedition, Garden of Genesis. Now, this was just announced with the March patch notes. Bordy, we're going to go through this today and talk about where it's located, the bosses that are in there, and more stuff, all things Garden of Genesis, Bordy. But first, before we get started here, let's pull this map up over on New World Fans, and let's look at the location of where we think this expedition is going to be. So the expedition is located in the northwestern part of the crater in Edengrove. So if we zoom in here, we got the crater, and then right up here in the northwestern part, we see some. I mean, the yellow parts we know are like structures, because a lot of the bridges and the elevated paths that you walk on throughout Aeternum are yellow on the map. So we have some yellow areas up here in the northwestern corner of Edengrove, Bordy, or the crater of Edengrove.
Yeah, I would assume it's going to be located around one of those, or maybe potentially like kind of inside of that crater there, somewhere in one of those yellow marks. So we'll see. At least we know kind of where it is. And I would imagine that since it's in Edengrove, it'll probably be in the 40 to 50 range level would be my guess. I don't think they said that in this article or specified what level range the dungeon or the expedition is going to be, but that'd be my guess.
Yeah, in the preview event, Edengrove was more of an in-game zone. Definitely up north. It seemed like the farther you got north, the higher level the stuff got. I know they've adjusted that recently with the new zones. So we'll see, man. We will see. We do know that the first one was level 25, but they haven't mentioned anything about where this falls into the main story or the things that you need or what level you need to be to complete it. What they did notify Bordy, or what they did kind of let us know about, was the prerequisites of getting into Garden of Genesis, and that is you must complete the Caretaker quest. The Survivalist Elwood's quest in Edengrove at the Last Stand outpost. So Edengrove, again, this is the zone that's in. That kind of makes sense that you would need to complete a quest in this zone to compete in the Garden of Genesis. And also, Bordy, Ranger Harass quest in Shattered Mountain at the Mountain Rise outpost. Now, this is something that kind of makes me think this might be more of an in-game, maybe 60 expedition, because any questing within the Shattered Mountain you would think would be a max level quest.
Yeah, you would think so, and you're right. I mean, since you have to complete the quest up there at Mountain Rise Outpost in Shattered Mountain, we know that that's a level 60 area. So maybe, man, unless they've adjusted some of the levels up there, or maybe you pick up that quest there, and you maybe that's just where you pick it up. You have to complete the quests, but it says Ranger Harass quest in Shattered Mountain. So I would assume that you're questing in Shattered Mountain. I was gonna say you might pick them up there and then go to a different area or something to actually do the quest, but maybe not, because this says in Shattered Mountain. So yeah, maybe so. Maybe instead of level 40 to 50, maybe we're looking more at like 55 to 60 or 50 to 60 or something in that range.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Nonetheless, dude, the story of this dungeon has got me really excited. It is going to give us the backstory, or at least a hint of the birthplace of the Angry Earth. The player must face off against elemental protectors in order to penetrate in the nursery's primordial heart. Now, like the rest of Edengrove, the garden has been infected with a mysterious blight, and though the Angry Earth will never accept outsiders into their sacred space, only the players have the power to purge the blight and begin the garden's restoration. Dude, this is a pretty cool piece of lore. It kind of at first seemed like we might be teaming up with the Angry Earth here, Bordy.
Yeah, the way it's worded is a little bit interesting, man. I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I do know the Angry Earth are some of my favorite mobs in the game. Or, during the preview event, they were a ton of fun to fight, and the way they were modeled and the way they looked and the way they acted was really cool. So I'm very excited to be able to go in here and learn more about the Angry Earth, because we really don't know. We really don't know where they came from or why they're there, and so I'm excited to go check this out for sure.
Yes. So when you're in Garden of Genesis, finding out the birthplace of the Angry Earth, we're going to encounter at least 2 bosses, or what they had kind of pointed out in the article. First and foremost, and this is where Survival's Elwood comes in. There is the Caretaker comes in. The Caretaker is one of the bosses in there. Beware the murky waters in the den of this once gentle giant. So, dude, this sounds like we're gonna get some sort of behemoth angry earth mob.
The swamp thing, man.
Hey, dude.
That's what we're about to get walking out of those murky waters. Murky waters. That's what I pictured kind of, coming out of there as some crazy looking swamp monster or something. And that's dope. And one of the things we've kind of not criticized, I guess kind of criticized whenever we were looking at the images of the last expedition, was the lack of innovation whenever it came to a new boss or new mob type in there. That model we have seen a whole lot. The Amrine excavation is the one we're talking about here. The boss in that one, they showed it on Twitter. It looks very much like all the bosses you see out in the open world. So hopefully this one, the Caretaker, sounds different. And I hope it is, man. It sounds dope. It sounds like something that's going to come out of the water, and then you're going to have to fight it. Once gentle giant is, hopefully it's going to be this humongous, crazy encounter, man.
Yes. And like you said, I do hope that it's a unique mob. There have been some added Angry Earth and Corrupted mobs that we haven't got to see yet. They did give a little bit of a sneak peek in this article of the corruption mobs they're adding with the new zone, Edengrove Reach. But we haven't got to see the Angry Earth mobs yet. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for them. The final boss, or what appears to be the final boss in the Garden of Genesis boardy, is the Blighted Greenskeeper. This Blighted soul stands guard at the very heart of the Garden of Genesis. Man, this is where I think New World can really improve upon, and they are attempting to do this. Obviously, they're making great strides towards lore and backstory boardy. And like you said, with these 2 bosses and the backstory of Garden of Genesis, I think they're heading in the right direction, is telling us and explaining where the Angry Earth come from, why they're hostile to players, and their previous history of again, they kind of hint at it in the Caretaker's lore. They were probably once peaceful towards players.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like. And then for whatever reason, they're not anymore. So that's going to be interesting to figure out why. And the lore behind all this stuff gets me very excited, because this is I love how they're kind of leaning into this more and more and more as we see some of these patch notes coming out. They're leaning into what makes New World unique, and that's the story, the environment, the type of different mobs they can incorporate. And it's awesome to see they really are leaning into that. And it shows with this, or at least on paper, it looks like it shows this with the 2 new bosses, and then a lot of lore behind the Angry Earth. This gets me excited, man. This gets me going. I'm ready to run this expedition, dude.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun talking about the new expedition. Obviously, expeditions are an exciting addition to New World. I like that they're continuing to add more and more. Hopefully, we get a big batch of them before launch, so that we have more activities to level through. And I know people, especially PvE players, like instanced group content. So here's another one, dude. 2 already. And they just announced expeditions a little bit ago. So I think that's a pretty positive note for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hang tight on the channel. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more content like this. We're going to continue to break down these March patch notes. There's a ton of information here. And we're excited to do that for you. Tomorrow, you should see our episode of New World to Go, where we overview all the patch notes. So if you're interested in a big overview of all the March updates, hang tight. Again, we'll be back tomorrow with all of that here on the channel. Until then, we thank you guys so much for watching again, and we'll see you in the next video.